now more than ever. We're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too.
And to my Republican colleagues who say, I don't want any undocumented people in this country, I actually agree with you. So let's document every single one of them with a speedy path to citizenship.
It is a true honor to serve with this champion for healthcare, to serve with this champion for all people, even those that are undocumented, but are truly making this country great.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday evening. I want to show you some things in the news that I think you should be aware of from a high level perspective, because we've entered into a new phase in the battle for America. Now, those of you who've been with me, you are familiar with our news board. We called it our lemmas, and it tracks news, but we moved away from it because with these news boards, you have to give time for events to play out. And the reason why we do boards like this is so we can go back and reference those boards and events that have happened and then see where we are. So, for example, this is when we were going over the Zelensky Donald Trump drama. And as we know now, if we were to update this one section, we would know that Zelensky is being overthrown was the end result of what Zelensky had done. All right. Where I want to talk to you about is this whole entire section here, which used to be the Summer of Rage, was here. We got rid of it because it didn't go the way they planned it to. It actually backfired on them. But if you guys recall the Democratic warfare where the Democratic war is against the American people, but also against each other. And we touched on how people are leaving New York City. We touched on how Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries were at each other's throats. We touched on Kathy Hochul and how Kathy Hochul's a dang amount retard. We said that this guy right here, John Fetterman, was the one Democrat that had some type of common sense out of all of them. We went into how Biden has been coming back into the spotlight, and Biden himself has been playing sabotage, which Biden has been doing, quite frankly. He just came back out and did it again. And then we touched on the old guard, which will be Donna Brazile, which is connected to the Clinton campaign, and Jim Carvell connected to the Clinton campaign. We went into how Jim Carvell called out the radical left of the Democratic Party and said, hey, why don't you guys go start your own damn party? Stop calling yourself Democrats. And they didn't listen, and they actually decided, nah, screw you, Jim Carvell. We're going to do what we've been saying we're going to do. But where I want to take you to is this. This series of events right here, I'm going to make sure this is on the screen the way I want you to see it. This series of events right here in the news is a massive sign of the offensive campaign that's going on from the Conservative Party. You see, the biggest problem with Republicans is that they don't go on offense. They play a lot of damn defense, but now we're seeing massive offense being played. And I want to start with Jasmine Crockett because she's so damn dumb that she fell into this trap. Now, everybody knows that Jasmine Crockett has been the most outspoken from a racial perspective ghetto congressperson we've ever seen. So not only has she portrayed this ghetto image, but then she's portrayed it being a starch racist. There'll be people who say, well, Jasmine Crockett's not racist. She tell the truth. You're a damn fool if you think Jasmine Crockett is not racist. I mean, maybe she may not be racist, but she projects racism because she figured that she had a base that would support her. And I want you to see this genius move that's been made. And kind of to give you a broader picture, we know that there are millions of illegal aliens that came into this nation, right? And then we know that they were given driver's license and social security numbers, and they were jammed in the blue city. So how do you destroy the ability to steal an election in a state? The way you do it is you redistrict. And so now you redistrict to where those districts that have all the illegal aliens don't count. Because remember, their plan was to jam all the illegals into blue cities. We're going to jam them all into blue cities. We'll win these districts. Well, the problem is the Republican Party in Texas has come out and they have redistricted and rezoned. And this is devastating as this trend picks up. It's going to absolutely devastate the Democratic Party's plan in red states. And when I say it's going to devastate, as this happens more and more and more, it's going to utterly decimate them. And remember, it doesn't have to happen in all the red states. It needs to happen in the biggest red states. So if this happens in Texas, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, the Democrats don't get anything in 2026. They take massive losses in 2026. And this is probably one of the most smartest offensive political moves that I've ever seen, because how do you overcome election fraud when you know they have entire networks? Well, you have a full-on attack. Not only are you suing, and not only are you using ICE to arrest the illegal aliens, but you switch the districts up on them to where they can't use it. And in the case of Jasmine Crockett, it hurts her the worst, because the way they rezoned Jasmine Crockett is they rezoned her to the east of where she was, which is honestly a majority white area. So all the rhetoric that she was using, when election time comes, that rhetoric is going to be played to people who don't look like her. Jasmine Crockett is cooked. It's a genius move. An absolute genius move. Here it is. Politico. Dozens of Texas Democrats plan to flee the state amid a special session Sunday afternoon, making a last-ditch effort to disrupt a mid-decade redistricting attempt forced by President Donald Trump, according to two people briefed on the matter. It marks their second act of breaking quorum, when the state house will lack the minimum number of lawmakers needed to conduct business since 2021. And it comes as the party scrambles to counter the aggressive action in Texas, intended to keep Republicans in power in Congress next year by creating 5 GOP-friendly seats in the state. 4 years ago, Republican Governor Greg Abbott called for the arrest of fleeing lawmakers upon their return to their state. Sunday's move will almost certainly set off a nationwide redistricting arms race that threatens to upend the 2026 election map. And yes, that is the most important thing that can happen. Now, there's going to be people who be like, oh, it's racist for them to redistrict. No, it's racist for Jasmine Crockett to get in the office and the election be stolen because a whole bunch of damn illegal aliens who don't pay taxes get to vote. No, that's the racist part. And here's the craziest thing about it. If you're not serving the constituents, in her case, which were black people in her district, and there's nothing going on for your constituents other than rhetoric, your ass don't need to be there in the first place. I mean, from a political perspective, if you're going to be my representative and you running around defending illegal aliens and just calling white people mean and evil and talking crazy and ain't getting nothing done for me, then I don't want you there in the first place. That should be the mentality of the constituents. But the problem is the constituents don't have that mentality. Their mentality is, she's a black woman and she's a strong black woman. We're going to see how strong she is. And see, this is how things have to be done when you're dealing with wicked people like this. Everybody doesn't want to take the gloves off. You have to take the gloves off and put the brass knuckles on, and you have to beat them and keep beating them and keep beating them and keep beating them until they give up. If you don't do that, then they're just going to keep on going in a direction, because that's the one thing about wicked people. Wicked people don't change their ways, man. In fact, we've done this in the late night hours where we talked about the spiritual city of Babylon. Babylonians are Babylonians. They don't change. If you go back and look at the story of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar built the image of himself and said, all you guys going to bow down and worship this image. What the hell you think Jasmine Crockett is doing? She created an image of herself. The Jasmine Crockett that we see is not the real Jasmine Crockett. She created an image of herself, a clone that's more ghetto, and said, you're going to worship this clone. And snapping her fingers, rolling her eyes, arguing and fuss. That ain't the real Jasmine Crockett. The real Jasmine Crockett probably would have went to Congress and did something for her people in her district, which just so happened to be majority black. But nope, didn't happen. Because what? Because she's a Babylonian. And that's the thing that people don't get. You just don't get it. Hold on. Let's take a listen to what this guy got to say.
This is State Representative James Tallarico from Texas. If you're seeing this video, my Democratic colleagues and I have just left our beloved state to break quorum and stop Trump's redistricting power grab. Trump told our Republican colleagues to redraw the political maps here in Texas in the middle of the decade to get him 5 more seats and protect his majority in Congress. They're turning our districts into crazy shapes to guarantee the outcome they want in the 2026 elections. If this power grab succeeds, they will hang on to power without any accountability from the voters. But Texas Democrats are fighting back. We're leaving the state, breaking quorum, and preventing Republicans from silencing our voices and rigging the next election. We are not fighting for the Democratic Party. We are fighting for the democratic process, and the stakes could not be higher. We have to take a stand.
No, arrest his monkey ass. Arrest his monkey ass. You see, redistricting versus bringing in illegals and giving them the ability to vote. Which one is worse? One is legal. One is 100% illegal. Right? We're going to redistrict because we have enough votes to redistrict. And the reason why we have enough votes to redistrict in Texas is because you guys suck. So because your ability to govern sucks, you open the door for us to redistrict. So now we redistricted. And the reason why they're fleeing is because it destroys their ability to steal the elections. Because think about it, between now and the 2026 election, you would have to go in and redo the residencies for all those people in those districts to vote. So if they move Jasmine Crockett district over to the east, way over to the east, and I'll show you one lady from Austin that's experiencing the same thing, then you can't have them people vote because they're not registered in that district. Now, if you decide you're going to go register in that district, or you're going to register them in the district, we're going to catch you in the process of doing election rigging. And therein lies the genius move of this. Hold on. Watch this lady in Austin. She's going to complain about this happening to her. But she's telling on herself. They all tell on themselves. Remember the lady who came out and she was like, well, I can use as many illegal. We can absorb as many migrants as we can because we need them for redistricting purposes. Hold on. Just a point of reference. Here is Tim Walz signing in the driver's license for all bill in Minnesota. And just so in case somebody's saying, well, they're not stealing. No, it's obvious what's going on. He is doing it right here.
Governor Tim Walz signed the driver's license for all bill into law. This will allow all Minnesotans to get a driver's license regardless of immigration status.
Instead of actually changing the politician, what they actually do is they just want to change the voter. And by allowing illegal immigrants to have an ID, that's flat out un-American. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to flood our market with all these illegal voters, given what we've seen over the course of the past year with their inability to have free and fair elections. And it's just going to be their response to it. to allow millions of people to have an ID, and quite frankly, to the tax-paying American and the everyday American, this is absolutely disgusting, outrageous, because these tone-deaf policies are what the world are watching right now. They aren't listening, and quite frankly, we're fed up with it.
Governor Tim Walz signed the driver's license for all bill into law.
And so it's a matter of the survival of America and the forced migration that's being done. Now, if Democrats had a governor in Texas, I guarantee you they would do the same thing. I guarantee you if they had control of Texas, they would do the same thing. If they had control of Louisiana, they would do the same thing. Now, I want you to realize that Tim Walz's state is a hellhole. I mean, a Somalian taken over, Muslim prayer calling hellhole. And so and here's the thing you gotta understand. They don't care if you flee their state as long as these other people have the option to vote. That was the thing that got me about people saying they're going to leave New York and they're going to come to Florida. They don't realize that the Democrats don't care if you leave New York and come to Florida, or leave New York and come to Texas, or leave New York and come to Louisiana. They don't care as long as they have their illegal aliens to vote and keep them in control. You just making it better for them when you leave. You just make it easier for them. They don't want you, Democrat. They don't want you. I mean, middle of the road, center Democrat. They don't want you. They want woke leftists and they want illegals. That's it. That's all they want. I mean, that's it. That's all they need for the America that they want to build. In fact, they want to kill you. They want to kill you. Hold on. I'm going to get back to what I was getting to. Here she is, Jasmine Crockett. I want you to notice she's actually talking like she has some kind of sense in this particular clip.
Legislature did ask us as members of Congress to confirm our addresses. I don't know how many of us actually still reside in the districts that we represent. I do not currently reside in my district based upon the plan that has been drawn, which is another red flag, in addition to courts consistently looking at how many people have been moved. But I know that this legislation.
Now, I want to say this about this redistricting. They're going to come out and say it's racist. In fact, she comes out and says it's racist. Hold on. They're going to come out and say it's racist. But I want you to remember something. These are the same people that allowed damn near 20 million illegals from other nations all over the globe to come into America, and they defended it. All I have to do to bring that to your memory is say the name Kilmore Abrega Garcia. Say it with me. His name is Kilmore Abrega Garcia. And so the thought process that the Democrats want me to get is, you care about American citizens, and it's racist that your district was redrawn. But out the other side of your mouth, out this side of your mouth over here, you saying, defend all illegals. Let's give them free housing. Let's give them free medical. Let's give them welfare. But it's racist that you get redistricted. But wasn't it not racist when you literally redistrict the whole United States of America by bringing in illegals? I mean, talk about redistricting. I mean, come on, bruh. Please, child, please.
I don't think that it's an accident that Donald Trump picked up the phone, called down to Texas, told Abbott what he was going to do, and like a small, ridiculous child, he just fell in order. I don't think any of that was an accident. But what I can tell you is that we will not be an accident. We, the people of Texas, will be very intentional about making sure that they hear us, about making sure that we call them out for what they're doing. This is racist, what they are doing. Let me hear you. That is coming up with policies that will help all people, no matter what their ethnic background. They have decided, never mind, We want to dilute the voices of black and brown. Well, I got news for you. In this state, the majority is black, brown, and Asian. We will not sit idly by while a wannabe dictator decides that he's going to silence us.
This trick here. So here's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to be clear with you. I hope they redistrict y'all to where it's one of y'all in the Congress and the Senate in every state. One of each. Because they don't give a damn about the American people. They only care about the illegal aliens. And if you find yourself sitting there saying, oh, I think it's unfair, I think it's not right. No, they screwing you the most. Yeah, the people she screwed the most are the people who live in her district. Because that's where she brought them illegals. And that's where they came in and gave them welfare, and came in and gave them housing, and came in and gave them food, and came in and gave them everything they wanted. That thing right there, and people of her ilk are what I would call giant elephants. They running around with giant elephant phalluses slamming everybody. Yeah. Now, if you want to bend over for an elephant like that, then go on bend over. Yeah. You want to bend over for them, you let them ride you like that, that's on you. Even though I think the Democrats is the donkeys. But if you want to bend over for them like that, go on let them hit you up. Because that's what they're doing. Yeah. And it's bad. And it's going to end real bad for everybody that support them. But in my opinion, the current Democratic Party needs to be crushed into oblivion. When I mean crushed to where they don't exist. You have to play by the rules, but even harder than they play illegally. And crush them.